introductions for those of you that don't know. Adrienne Gordon is a pricing strategist and consultant with over 25 years of experience helping companies drive value through value-based pricing. She began her journey at Parker Hannifin, and is now leads Pricing Empowered, and is also the founder of PriceSpace. So we'll kind of get into probably both of those things from her. And so she's helping pricing professionals with AI, giving them software that they can actually afford, versus and teaching them how to actually go about that. So that's what we'll get into a little bit today with some of her recommendations, insights into what she does. So appreciate you making the time, Adrienne.
So yeah, no, I'm so excited to be here. And on behalf of everybody here, I think we owe you a thank you, Chris, for setting this up. So when
Let's see how it goes first.
Yeah. So when
We've
Chris
already
asked me if I wanted to join, I was all in because of two things. One is I love watching the pricing profession grow. I've been doing this for a little while. I know I don't look that old, right? But for 30 years. And number two is it's a disruptive time. So I think it's a great time for this and looking forward to the whole week.
Awesome. Well, let's get started. I'll try to, and you guys just bear with us on what this will look like. When I bring it to the screen, I think we may lose our video, but when I bring the presentation, but I'll see what I can do. All right. So I guess we are off, but we can still talk. So look, the way things are going to go, Adrienne and I we did this together. I kind of put in some of my slides, some of your responses from the pricing salary survey to look at what a function will look like. Then Adrienne's going to come in and talk about AI and talk about all the stuff that, as a pricing recruiter, I don't know about. I don't understand, and kind of help us with what is the future of pricing in this new world of AI. And I think that is so important for where we're going with AI. How do we look at it from a pricing perspective? How do we utilize it? What are we ready for? Where are you with your company's journey with AI? So yeah, from there I'll kind of get started, and then I'll let um, Adrienne jump in. So great quote. I think we could all. I'm not the best at reading, so I'll let you all read that. Okay. Sorry, the slides are a little slow, so give me a little bit of patience on that. So this is the salary survey that I do every year. So I looked at about 1,222. I took out pricing consultants, I took out deal desk folks to really focus on just like the core pricing people. What are they spending their time on? Where are they? And so this gives us an insight of where pricing professionals at all levels are spending their time. So um, that's a little bit about the numbers. And again, bear with me; these are a little Ring Central's a little slow, or maybe it's just me. So, anyways, these are all from your responses. So directly from pricing professionals. This isn't a guess of where pricing professionals are spending their time. So if you look at the top, as you would expect, analysts, senior analysts, managers, senior managers are spending the majority of their time on analytics, and then it starts to scale down to the VP level, and then the strategy starts picking up and scales down the other way. There's a very nice correlation there. But as you notice, still, the crazy part for me when I looked at this was just the amount of time on data entry, even from, directors and manager level people. We're still spending so much time on manual tasks, um, manual work that can be optimized, can be made more efficient. And I think this speaks to, I think the biggest thing when I talk to companies is still that they're not as advanced as I would think. And my comment back to them is always, you're probably exactly as advanced as I would think. So, anyways, so you can see here most time is being spent, on analytics, especially at the lower at the lower levels. I tried to look at what's the average structure of a pricing team. So the average uh, person in charge of pricing has six direct reports, so meaning a team of seven people. So that's what you guys are saying is the average size of a pricing function is about seven. So then I looked at kind of what the breakdown of responses were, and so that's where I came up with this function. So it's probably the closest thing, but as you all know, some functions start out at one person and they're hiring a director to build the function, and then some are very advanced teams. So there's probably different categories to this. Um, yeah, it could be a public company, but just overall, that's what the average is. I think there's some that are big, some that are small. It comes in all different shapes and sizes, right? Um, and something I think Karan kind of had talked about the other day, and always the question of what is a cost, to hire a pricing professional. So these are the all-in costs. When you talk about benefits, bonus, all that stuff, you can see there's a large cost associated to every role. And the reason I wanted to kind of show this was, if we then take that and look at it compared to, what is the amount of time being spent um, on things that AI could help us with and allow us to kind of put our time other places. So I thought this was really powerful. The amount of cost being spent on folks and in areas where AI can improve, and how can we kind of shift that, and what are future roles, and all that kind of stuff looks like. But we're still spending way too much time on analytics in the world we are right now, especially, a VP is taking up $200,000 of comp, spending it on analytics, reporting, data entry, governance, and policy, which is a big number. It's even a huge number from the analyst level. So if you look back at that seven-person team, what is that total cost of potential AI helping out is 717,000. It just came out to a cool number. I usually would round, but that just looked like a fun number. So, anyways, that's a bit about kind of where we are. I'll let Adrian kind of get into, as you guys are probably like, all right, I came to hear about AI and how it's transforming, not Chris giving us a walkthrough. So from there, I'll transfer it over to Adrian to let her get into her side of things.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris. All right. So, this is a pricing excellence framework that we have been using for probably a decade and a half now. And it was developed across, working with hundreds of companies across industries. So, I don't care what industry you're in, this works for you. And so, the theory behind this is companies that do pricing right. They have one thing in common, and that is they have this idea that there's this target price. This target price is like the best ultimate utopian price that supports corporate goals. And it's a moving target, right? So it's not necessarily tied to competition. It's not necessarily tied to what a customer says they're willing to pay or a cost, but it really supports the goals of a company. Around that idea of a target price, this doesn't matter what industry you're in. You probably are doing four activities around that. you're probably setting some strategy, you're executing that strategy, you're analyzing the results, and you're trying to optimize. Okay. So we look at pricing as a continuous improvement business process that has those 4 steps. Now, this is where it gets interesting. What we've observed across hundreds of companies is there are certain competencies and behaviors that happen in companies that do this really well, right? And it's common. And so there's 8 of them that we look at. And when we start in the world of strategy, we look at the culture of the company. Is it a value management focused company? Uh, are the strategies for daily tactics and pricing aligned with the goals of the company across other functions? Are high risk, high reward opportunities getting escalated with oversight through policy? Is the process fast and repeatable? Is the sales force ready to go defend value? And have we invested in times for analytics capabilities and market intelligence? And do we bring it all together and synthesize that to continually improve? So, this is what we use for our framework. So, if you think about today and pricing as it's evolved over the last 20 years, we really have pricing professionals that are aligned to these activities. So in the top right-hand corner, we really look at the senior pricing directors, the vice presidents, the chief pricing officers. They're really focused on culture, getting alignment of goals, and making sure they're bringing all that information together to optimize pricing over time. When we get into the world of policy and process and sales readiness for execution, we're really looking at those pricing and revenue managers, maybe the deal desk. And obviously, in the left hand corner, we're looking at analytics capabilities and market intelligence that's really affecting the analysts. And finally, synthesis is usually an executive role as well. All right, so this is the good news, bad news, Chris. If you want to go to the next slide.
Yeah, and I just put us on the screen as I'm trying to figure this out. And if we freeze or pause, Allison said just go out and come back in. So my apologies. But yeah, we'll hopefully we'll get things worked out today.
So, as Chris is flipping the slide over, I did hear a couple texts that my logos are backwards. I apologize. They look right to me. so, so I apologize for that. So around this framework, this is what is really interesting. So we have a lot of discussion around how AI is going to help automate and support analytics. Absolutely, that's going to happen. It's also going to help governance. So a lot of times that's what we use the word policy around. It's going to help actually automate processes. So once you know what the strategies are, you pretty much can set it and forget it. And it also can actually support heavily the idea of content that's value defense content, building value based pricing calculators, and can do all that. So everything on the left hand side of this framework, frankly, AI is going to be able to support, automate, do it really fast, frankly, do it really well. What it's not going to do is that upper right hand corner. So, what we've traditionally thought of as sort of the more leadership roles in pricing, those are going to still be necessary, right? So, we're still going to need to work on culture and making sure we're aligned with other functions and bringing all these things together. But all of us, no matter where you're coming from in the pricing profession, you need to start looking at the attributes of those leaders and start working towards how do I get myself to be more like that and using those same kind of skills, because at the end of the day, the bots are going to do the rest. Next slide, Chris.
On it.
All right. So you are going to hear in the pricing world some different types of AI. I'm not going to go through all of them today, but I wanted to have them in the deck so that you guys can actually do your own research. Today, we're going to talk about agentic AI and synthetic AI primarily. We're actually going to do a case study, and you're going to see how fast and how accurate and how powerful these tools are. Deterministic AI, this is something that you actually might see in a lot of the pricing software out there today. It's more like rule-based AI. So within some constraints and goals, we want you to work through something. That's how you're training the bot. Predictive, prescriptive, reinforcement. Most people here probably won't be interacting with those kinds of AI much, but really, agentic and synthetic are tools that you can get today. You can get them free, and they can be very, very powerful. So on the next slide, you'll see some examples of platforms.
Ready for it?
So, yes. So
Sorry.
So these are not meant to be prescriptive or anything. These are just some examples for you guys to go out and start looking at and seeing if these are something that fit for your own organizations. Today, we're going to look at specifically Manus. We're going to use OpenAI, not the API, but we could use exactly what we're going to do through API. And if anyone wants to ask me questions on that, we can do that at the expo. And famous AI, which is also synthetic AI. Synthetic AI also uses agents. I like to think about it as agentic AI is sort of like, I'm going to build a staff. I'm going to build a staff of bots. I'm going to go have them do some things as my agents and tell them, these are my goals and whatnot. They'll go do it. Synthetic is a little bit more creative. And so that's what we're going to look at today. All right, next slide, Chris. All right. So in no particular order, because all of these can kind of like overlap and do similar activities, we're going to basically do a handoff. And I really just chose this to show you that we can get different bots to work together to do different goals. And again, I just chose to go from OpenAI to Manus to Famous. We could have done this in different orders as well. So we're going to go use ChatGPT today. We're going to do it in the 5.0, and we're going to use the agent mode. And so when you go to ChatGPT, you'll see that you can actually use the different models, 5.0 being the latest, and you can also use there's a little button that you can click to say agent. We're going to use it to do data quality, data prep. We're going to have it do analysis and build a model and drive some insights. Now, we're only going to do this once, so we're not going to do any iterations today, but you'll get the idea. We're going to take the results of that. We're going to pass it to Manus. Now, Manus is agentic AI. I use Manus every day for clients every day. I use it in many different ways. I use it to build decks. I use it to do competitive intelligence. I use it to build applications. So it is a very, very powerful tool. And so we're going to take the OpenAI results, we're going to give it to Manus, and we're going to have Manus basically build additional insights, build some strategies, build a deck ready to share with a board of directors. So super, super powerful. At the same time, we have Manus working. We're going to take the same results from OpenAI and we're going to pass it to Famous AI. And we're going to have Famous AI build a software application. We're going to have it build a software application to actually take the results of the study we do in OpenAI and build a tracker so that we can actually monitor and do project management around the results. All right. Next slide, please. All right. So Chris, if you want to start hitting the down button twice, we're going to actually have this go in live time. So what we have in here,
what
it's
button?
the top two boxes. You should be able to click on them.
I don't know if I can.
Okay.
Just,
well,
it
just said go, but it didn't actually let you run it. All right. Well, these were recordings that may not be working. But so what you would have been watching, I'll just tell you what prompt I started with.
Oh shoot! I put it in a PDF. Here, let me pull it in a different way and see if I can pull it on a different screen. 1 second. Let me just.
So as Chris is doing that, I'm going to read the prompt that I started with, and I want to do this so that you guys can see how absolutely simple this is to do some really detailed data analytics. All right. So in ChatGPT, in agent mode, in the model 5.0 model, I typed in this prompt: analyze the following pricing data for a B2B wholesaler. Product data with current prices, costs, and margins, competitive pricing, customer value perception data. I want you to identify products significantly underpriced relative to target margins, competitive positioning, customer value perception, and for each product, explain why it's underpriced. Assess risk factors for price adjustments, such as customer price sensitivity, competitive response, product substitutability, and strategic importance. Recommend optimal price points that balance margin improvement with risk. Format in clear sections, tables, and actionable insights. Now, this would have been rolling, and in 6 minutes.
And well, here,
Yep.
I pressed both of them.
Sure.
All right. Sorry about that, folks.
Yeah, I'm
Wait,
not
does it
sure
not?
if these are going to run or not.
Oh, here. Oh, sorry. I just pressed the button. Um,
Here you go.
so they're
Okay,
running.
here we
Yeah,
go.
they're sharing my screen.
Okay, so what you're seeing on the left-hand side is ChatGPT in agent mode is now doing a study. So I had uploaded 6 Excel files, CSV files, that had that data in there. I typed in that prompt, super, super simple prompt. And in agent mode, if you're not using it yet, what you're going to see is you actually can get into the bot's mind. So right now it is telling you, this is what I think I'm going to study. These are the formulas I'm going to actually write. And it's writing the code in Python in real time. Now, it's really important to understand that because as we do this, if there's something that the agent comes up with we don't agree with, we can stop it. Now, ChatGPT in 6 minutes just created an 11-page report. All I did was copy that 11-page report, and you can see behind the scenes it had tables, it had some scatter plots, and I just popped that into Manus and typed create a deck, an executive level deck for a board of directors based on this pricing study. And I want you to add in your own insights and recommendations. All right. So now Manus is going to do that. At the same time, on the right hand side, I have Famous taking the exact same 11-page report from ChatGPT, and I asked it to create a project management software application. And in that case, I wanted it to actually check its own work for functionality. So when you actually start using these, if you don't tell it you want it the end game, you might get something back that you don't want. So I always tell it to check its own work before it ever gives me any kind of input. And so as this is working through, you're going to see that it's starting to build out the tool. So you can see it's actually now building software to the right-hand side. And Manus actually was a little challenged by this. So it actually came back to me a couple times. It was like, ooh, I made a mistake. I'm going ahead and I'm going to reiterate. Oh, I made another mistake. So it's correcting its own errors. Now you can see the lapse time up here. We're just about to hit the end. It took 31 minutes total. Now, this was a linear process where I took it from ChatGPT to Manus to Famous. I could have done them in parallel. And in 31 minutes, you will be able to see the outcome. And so you've got about 2 more minutes. You can see it's actually building the deck as we speak. And in a moment, when it finishes up, we'll move into the other page. And it's talking to us for whatever reason. So the bots are telling us they're
It's like
done. You can see now there's a
it's
PowerPoint
like
ready
old school forwarding a video.
so there's a PowerPoint ready
VHS.
to download. Okay, Chris, if you want to go to the next slide.
All right, let's see if I can do it. I can figure it out. All right. There we go.
All right. So in the top left-hand corner, you'll see that's the actual deck that it came up with. You can see it's super professional. This is something I'd feel very comfortable going in front of a board of directors to talk about and use those slides. And what's really interesting is it took those 11 pages of insights, it boiled them down to some really strategic things, such as it highlighted in one slide the customers with perceived high value. In another one, it had recommendations for pricing segmentation. Crazy, right? On the bottom right-hand side, you have the app. And Chris, can you hit the actual link for the app? I'm not sure if that's going to launch from there. I just want to show you that this is an actual functioning app. And if you can't get it up right now, we'll send it to you guys later. But again, in 31 minutes, we had a functioning application that would actually, in fact, I will send you guys a link to it right now so you can see on chat. Oh, there you go. So you can go ahead and you can filter, you can do approvals. Now, the reason why this is so powerful is not only did I ask it to build a project management app, it built in an approval process. I didn't even ask it to do that, right? And so these were, yes, I knew Craig is asking about how large were the data files. These were fairly small data files. And so that is a potential issue is, ChatGPT can only take a certain amount of size. There are different applications that can take bigger. So when you actually use something like Manus, or if you want to use Famous AI, you can actually build these tools in SQL. You can do them in Power BI. You can feed them through a link on OneDrive or SharePoint, access to bigger files. So if you want to go back to the deck.
Do we have the link, or is it the link?
Oh, here, I can send the link if anyone wants to play with it.
Yeah, put it in the
And
chat.
now, again, I haven't done all of the troubleshooting on this, so it's possible that there's going to be a couple errors. So when we build software, we usually have to, see what comes up in the very first round. Then we go back and we talk to the bot about what works, what didn't work, if there's any bugs. But the more you actually can talk to these tools about pre-debugging, the better you will get for your first outcome. All right. So super cool, right? Like in 31 minutes, if you think about what that used to be, that could be analysts basically doing, a half a day of analysis to get there, half a day to build the actual board deck. And how long would it take to build a software app like that, right? But again, today, super, super fast. All right, go ahead, Chris, to the next.
Yep. And one question for the end is data privacy. I know that probably we should get into that at some point, because I'm sure for most people that's that's a big question or a big concern. So finish this, or you choose now or after on that one.
Sure. Yeah. So really quick, I knew the data privacy question would come up. If you guys want to go to the expo, we can go deep in that. But I will tell you high level. There's different ways that you can interact with AI, right? And so one is you can do on premise versus in cloud. You can also basically think about it as I could either feed AI all of the data, or I can have AI build the tool that uses my data in my own environment. So if you have a SQL database, you keep your data secure and you're using AI to build the front end. And so it's not actually, taking your data and socializing it with the world. It is keeping it constrained. So there's a lot of different tools out there as well that have different levels of security, and there's different approaches. So we can go deeper this afternoon, but the answer is if you want to just use your data and do something simple like ChatGPT, cloak your data. We do that all the time for clients. So we'll take all the customer numbers and all of their products, and we'll just do like this product is number one, this product is number two. And so we'll do like a VLOOKUP, and then we'll put all their data in, and then we take out the results, and then we do the VLOOKUP again and give them back their secure data. So there's a lot of different ways to do that.
So,
All right.
and
So
one thing I will add is that you're with what you're doing with your helping clients with this, and helping or not software companies, but helping companies implement this for pricing. You're getting past the IT and everybody, and even becoming sometimes more trusted than some of the bigger software players out there. So there truly is a way to make this secure and for you guys to be comfortable with it. I just want to throw that out there from somebody else, so it's not just
yeah, so
not
that's a
just
great
her.
point, Chris. So, some companies don't want to host. They want you to put this on Azure, or they want this, to be on AWS, or hosted that way. Some companies are so locked down that they just want something that they can put on their own SQL database that is faster to put together than Power BI. To be honest, I still have clients that want me to help them build out Power BI dashboards, and I'm like, okay, that's going to take me 4 weeks. I could do an app in the next hour. But so it is really transforming how we can actually look at data. So just a couple more slides. We've got about 15 minutes and then some
Yep.
Q&A. So what does this mean? If we look at the different skills, right, and in the pricing excellence framework, where those leaders really were, focused on strategic thinking and business acumen and change management, communication, all of those skills are going to be important for all of us, analyst up through chief pricing officer. We are going to need to understand AI as well. I have a client who is in an industry where all of the competitors are on AI. And so all the bots are looking at the bots. So there's strategic thinking needed there, right? To actually think through what is the bot interpreting? When do I want to do human intervention, right? So all of those skills are going to still be required. So you're going to see some massive disruption, and it's happening actually right now. So the number one takeaway, you just watched it, right? 31 minutes. So price optimization software, CPQ functionality, it's going to be replicated at a fraction of the cost, right?
Well,
I am
and
literally
more. Sorry to interrupt. More so than that, I mean, a lot of the existing stuff out there is kind of essentially if then functions, right? Just complex, not truly AI, and they're not really taking advantage of this. It's usually kind of, an algorithm or something giving recommendations versus true AI for the most part, right?
Yeah, and a lot of times that's all that's needed, right?
Yeah.
Is so a lot of companies are not at that level of sophistication that they're going to need, predictive analytics. Some do. Some need some rule based, just management tools, and some actually do need AI. And so again, this is where agentic AI and synthetic AI is becoming really powerful relative to the traditional deterministic. The other thing I think we're going to see is not only can we replicate some of that functionality, the speed to value is going to be super, super fast, right? So, it's no longer we need to go through these massive, massive, process mapping and things like that. We can do this in a very agile environment where we work with AI, build an app. Let's go ahead and add some functionality, and continue from there. And we're working with clients right now to it's all custom, right? Our clients, we go in and say, what's the problem? And we're building out apps with them to do all kinds of things, even outside of pricing. But integrating things like engineering change order process. How do we integrate that into quick quotes, things like that? So we're expanding it because it's just that easy to do. The other thing that I think is going to happen is intelligence is changing very quickly. So I use Manus to pull intelligence for several different clients. So we're pulling PPI data in. We can do it on a schedule, by the way. So we have a client in the travel industry, so we're pulling in all of the events in their area and doing a prediction for the next 2 weeks, and we're sending it out to a whole bunch of people in email. These are all done just straight through the actual platform itself. That's going to drive significant price transparency. So I think we're going to see a shift in 2027, of 2026, 2027, where price transparency is going to be a thing. Companies are going to have to understand their value propositions more, and they're going to have more discipline around value defense. And that's where, again, change management, strategic thinking is going to be critical. And the other thing I like to mention, I think this is going to happen super, super fast. So I've been studying this for a while now, and I can tell you every time I put together a presentation, I try to train somebody within a week, it's all changed. And it's going faster and faster. Like it used to be a week, and now it's like 2 days, right? So this is going to evolve super, super quickly. All right, Chris, next slide.
Yep. Sorry. Oh, I have to click.
All right. So if that was intimidating that you just watched that all happen in 31 minutes, I just wanted to say it's not the destination. This is a journey. Just know I've been studying what AI is doing to profession for 2 years, and the reason why I did it is I had some foresight that as a pricing consultant, I've been doing only pricing since 1999. That this was going to put extreme amount of risk on what I've been really good at, which is I'm great at analytics, right? I've been doing big data before big data was a thing. It's no longer a skill that is as valuable as it used to be. So that's why I started wanting to learn to actually, learn how to harness this and use it. And at the end of the day, now I just see so much potential, and it's super exciting. And I'm excited for all the pricing professionals that are going to be able to take these tools, master them, become better at analytics than you ever were before, while you actually start developing those soft skills that are going to be required in the years to come. All right, Chris, I think at that point, hand it back to you.
Awesome. Sorry, just trying to answer questions on here. Some of them have come up around competitive intelligence, and I was just trying to say, our other sponsors doing a talk on Thursday about competitive intelligence. So join their booth later today, or join the conversation on Thursday, and I think they're going to do a demo right afterwards. So we're trying to get everything. So honestly, there's probably any question that you guys have will hopefully be talked about this week. So Adrian did a great job of talking about stuff that's above my head, and truly, I think probably maybe scaring some people about where where we're going with AI and all that kind of stuff. So if you've got more, I just want to say it now. If you've got more questions, you want to learn more about this, you want to help figure out how your company can skip the walking phase and just start running. She's got great. She can actually come in and help build this stuff and give you software for a fraction of the price. Probably not that much more than it would take for you to learn and invest in these different things. So make sure to go stop by the booth later, see a full demo. I just wanted to do that there. But what does this actually mean for the pricing profession? So I actually used AI to help with the impact of what this is going to mean. And I wanted to look at it by level, right? There's people on here at every level. I don't want to exclude different people. So analyst, senior analyst, what's that change going to happen? It really, they're never going to be able to fully get away from analytics and reporting and, all that kind of stuff. But I think the skill sets are going to change a little bit. You just saw how Adrienne was able to, create different codes, do different things. I think the dependence on, the R's and the Pythons and learning more stuff is going to, be less important. And it's going to be more about understanding the AI, understanding how that works, and be the experts on understanding how to get the right information, when to intervene, when to do analysis on when to intervene, and really be the experts at understanding what's going on, how the data comes together, and almost be those data gurus versus having to do more of the work. And I think some of it's going to be more strategic, more focused stuff where they're taking stuff out and running analysis on other stuff. And then I think more time spent on learning the business, right? That's a big part as the career gets started. So managers, and I'll just run through this quick so we can get to all your questions because I know there's been a million of them. Managers, same thing. Obviously, a lot less analytics. I think allowing them to be more strategic, to do more segment and stuff, to do playbooks, to be the one who's kind of overlooking the analysts and really allowing them to be more strategic and to add more value. And I think that's where it all comes into play. I don't think we're necessarily going to lose a bunch of pricing jobs. I think it's going to allow us to be more strategic, to spend more time with the other teams, to build those relationships. It's going to allow us to kind of reprioritize our time, because I think our effect on the business and our ability to drive revenue is going to continue to grow up. So I don't think we're going to see the cuts. It's more of like, how are these roles going to change? How do you need to adapt? How do you need to be thinking about your career and what you need to understand to keep moving up and to be successful in pricing? And we get into that all week. There's people talking about first pricing person in, going from analyst to VP, all these different talks. So make sure to go through the agenda and bookmark those things. Directors, obviously, there's still, I want to say it's 20+% of your time is spent on analytics. That's just way too much. You need to be working with those other teams. You need to be driving that change management, other stuff. So I think it's going to be reprioritizing, making stuff more strategic, less hands-on on the deep analytics of things. So VPs, obviously, it's pretty much the same thing, right? Playing more at the high level, not having to get your hands dirty, automating most of that stuff, and be the person sitting over the function and in charge of everything that you are. These roles probably change the least, other than there was surprisingly a lot of analytics that I was still seeing at the VP level, which was kind of shocking. So recommendations for pricing organizations. Adrienne, do you want to jump in on that one, or we can kind of collaborate on that one?
Yeah. So, I mean, again, this is the time to start investing in AI skills, right? And, there's some questions about data privacy. What if my company doesn't like that, right? So, this is one of those things that we say just walk, jog, run, right? Start with some pilots, do things that feel safe. So if you come to the expo later, I'm just going to show you some tools and what's possible, and we can kind of just play and talk about some things. So, there's tools that we build that are data analytics that, are concerning about privacy. There's things like intelligence tools that you can build that, it's all out there on the internet. You're not creating any content that's going to be used. You're actually extracting content. So, that's a good way to talk to your company about keeping it safe. Prioritizing data quality, right? So, it's only as good as it's actually fed. However, this is again, I actually asked one prompt of the ChatGPT agent and it did data cleaning anyway. I didn't even ask it to do data cleaning. So we're working on a data cleaning app right now that just does it in a way that cloaks data. So if there's things that we can do with that as well. And of course, if you're going to be the leader in your company to start bringing some of these tools, just work with your IT team on governance. This is the framework. This is what we allow. This is what we don't allow. And just know there's a change management plan ahead for anybody who's going to take the lead here. The cool thing is, if you're in pricing, you probably are a change agent of some sort. That's what we do. So I do think we are
Or
great
you're used to being
professions to
told
be the
no.
Sherpas. We're used to being told no, right? So we're great Sherpas for what's coming ahead.
Am I allowed to put out the app link right now
Yeah,
or
I
later?
also sent in the yeah,
Oh, you
it's
already put it?
literally an app that was not we didn't troubleshoot it at all, but yes, it was built
Okay.
in 8 minutes.
Oh no, I meant the giveaways stuff later. I just did it. Oh
Oh, sorry.
well.
Yeah, so if you're interested, you can go ahead and here's a link.
I just put a yeah, I just put the link in.
Yeah, so I'm going to be sending out some free apps, not data collection. Just number one, so you can kind of have some ideation of what's possible. And number two is they're just free pricing apps that kind of go cross industry that you can play with, but they won't ask for any client or customer specific or company specific information. So if you're interested, I'm not just going to flood it to all 2,200 people who signed up for this week. Go ahead and sign up, and I'll send it out to you.
Aaron, your question about the cost, I don't know if she wants to give that out, but it's the
Yeah.
cost of less than a pricing analyst, I would say.
Yeah. So I mean, there's the
So many
actually
factors.
using the platforms, right? Those are consumption-based models. I spend a couple $1,000s a month on the consumption-based models to build out stuff. And then if you're looking for support on actual tools, that's something different. But yeah, the apps are the platforms themselves are inexpensive. It's really how long it takes to actually learn the tools and whatnot. It's
Yeah,
more
I
of an
think
investment in your
that's the
time.
big thing, right? Is in what Adrienne's built with PriceSpace is, if you're looking to run, you're looking to do this effectively and fast, that's when to bring her in. She has the ability to set you guys all up with this stuff and essentially give you pricing software for well less than the cost of an analyst. So if you're looking to really kind of start things, to have somebody that can help you, skip some of the pain of trying to learn this, to really bring in a refined, pricing analytics, help you get it customized for your company, your space, to get it approved by, IT, all that kind of stuff. That's when you should be talking to Adrienne too, because she can come in and help you get this across the finish line and do it for, probably not that much more than it would cost for you to actually figure this out on your own. So if you need at all help with pricing analytics and you need some software, you can't afford huge price tags, that's when to really reach out to her. Obviously, she's a great resource to learn from, and she's giving away a lot of this stuff for free. But to really understand how to get stuff done, how to execute, and stuff like that, that's where she's helping companies recreate, essentially create AI processing software for a fraction of the cost, since most of us can't afford a few $100,000 or even $100,000 on software. So sorry for me selling
Yeah.
you and kind of pushing
No, I
pushing that.
appreciate it.
So,
Um,
question,
there's a question
should we
from
get into?
Aaron.
Yeah.
Chris, can I
Yeah.
answer?
Yeah.
So the question on PE. So we do about 60% of our business is through PE, private equity, through PE firms because the speed is so quick here, and PE is all about quick value creation, right? So great place to do PE work.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they want it now and they want it fast and get the value, and they're not going to wait, 6 months or a year to kind of get the value out of something. And that's, like I said, that's kind of the value that you've built, and like you said, you've been invested the last few years, kind of learning about all this stuff. Um, I'm. Do you see Tiffany's question? I don't know if I fully understand. Maybe you do.
Um, I guess I'm not sure I understand the question.
Yeah. Tiffany, can you just rephrase it? So are you talking just the cost for Adrienne, the software, or the AI tools, all that kind of stuff? So she does software, essentially builds the software for you for a price. I don't know if she does hourly
Oh,
consulting. Maybe that's the question too. But yeah, go if you've got questions on that, like what she does, how how much money you can save on actually building yourself some pricing software. Join the booth later, go check out the PriceSpace website, all that
yeah.
kind of stuff.
Yeah, Tiffany, we can talk offline. As far as so if you just reach out to me, I'll be at the expo. We can talk then, or you can reach out to the website. So data quality. I'm helping a client right now manage through tariffs, and so they had 10,000 products that didn't have any really good descriptions in their item master, no product family hierarchy, no HTS codes, and we actually had AI take their item master and pre-generate a response based on common things that it saw, and then we had their engineers review it. So it's very powerful in data quality.
Yeah, I mean, the data entry, the data quality, I mean, I think that, that's one of those big things that should be helped with. I think we've all gone into companies and seen that their their data quality is probably one of the bigger questions I get from candidates is like, what does their data look like? I'm like, you can guess what their data looks like. It's probably horrible. There's,
Right.
I appreciate the question, but let's be honest, if a company's hiring usually their first pricing professional, you're going to be in for a world of hurt. And I think that's where, you need to either be an expert at that, that for now when you're going into roles, or, to bring in some stuff like this, have some stuff, the thing to think about, and this is just me spitballing, and something I heard recently from a candidate was they built AI internally for a company, and then they couldn't take it with them because it was a product of the company. So that's the other thing to think about too as you're doing this. If you want to spend the time and go build it out and do all this stuff, you may have to walk away without it. You obviously pick up the learnings and all that kind of stuff, but you can't, take it with you to company to company other than what's in your head. So
Devesh, how does it work with value-based pricing? So in the expo, I can do a demo of one of our tools that we built out, which actually does live competitive intelligence and builds value-based calculators. So it's been trained on the three financial statements. So it does true value-based pricing. Um, let's see, what else did I? Are we out of time, Chris, or do we have a minute to continue?
no, we got 10 minutes. We're good.
Okay. Um, sorry, I'm kind of going back. Security of data. So again, John, security of data and what you has your organization freaked out. So again, I want you to shift your thinking from I feed the AI the data and I get something back, which is what they're afraid of, to I build an app to do what I need it to do to sit on top of whatever secure environment I've got. And when you start shifting your thinking and you talk to Manus or Famous or one of the other synthetic or agentic AI tools under that framework, you will find that you're going to be able to do something. It's a big shift in thinking. Um,
There's also a
AI.
bunch,
Go ahead.
and I was going to say, so Adrian can stay on too. We'll run the questions for the next 10 minutes or so, and then we'll switch over to Madhavan. But Adrian can stay on in the chat and the Q&A and go through everything because there's a bunch of questions too in the Q&A tab. So we've got the chat. For everybody who knows, there's chat, polls, Q&A, and docs. One of the questions, can we share this deck with people afterwards? Are you fine with
Yes.
us doing that? Okay. Yeah, we'll make the deck available. I'll try to send out a recap every evening with with the resources and with stuff. So I'll try to include that in today's recap tonight. So you'll have access to the deck. I'll try to put it. Maybe I can even put it just in the docs up here. Oh, um, anyways, I guess I can just put a PDF, right? That way it's not running. Okay, I'll upload it right now. So Adrian can keep answering the questions, and I'll upload.
Sure.
upload.
So Jonathan Trost asked, how do you manage risks around AI hallucinations? Yeah, that's a big thing. So what I'm finding is as it gets more sophisticated, because again, I started looking at this 2 years ago. Hallucinations happened every day, but I just was like, there's something here, right? So I trusted the evolution, and it's getting better. It's getting better. It's getting better. Hallucinations are going down. I fact check, right? I fact check what I get. So, for instance, one of our apps, I was getting back some information that seemed accurate, but then a client asked me, that feels not intuitive. So I dug into it, and there was a hallucination. So I went back and I disciplined the bot. I said, "Don't ever do that to me again." And since then it hasn't. So it's a good question, right? This is going to be an evolution, but I do think where we are today and where we're going to be a year from now, it's going to be way more sophisticated. Um, what are the risks you see in relying decision recommendations made by AI? I think that's a great question from, I think it's Vimal. So the risks, right, thinking is still required. We're not in a totally autonomous world yet. And this is why I said companies who understand that we have the ability to adopt and automate and do a lot of things right now, they're going to win short term. But it's really the individuals that understand the risks, and that know what the limitations are. These are the individuals I think are going to succeed professionally. And so how do you address it? Part of this is just intuition, right? So when does this feel right? When does this feel wrong? And the way I look at it is I look at my bots as I look at my children. My children are in their 20s, they're highly educated. They've got a lot of great ideas. They don't have a ton of experience yet. So when they come to me with ideas, I digest them and I feed them back to them, and then sometimes I question them. Right? Same thing with AI. So I'm building out teams of resources for myself, and I'm looking at them as my team. Teams make mistakes. Bots still make mistakes, right? That doesn't make them any less useful. Okay, hopefully that helps. Um, let's see. What steps have I found helpful in making client trust AI outputs? Many people work with initially skeptical. I don't know. Honestly, like I work as the in between my bots and my clients. So really, my clients trust me, and I am responsible for making sure whatever I share from the bots is accurate. So from the Dina Wirtz, I guess my answer is, how do I get my clients to trust the AI outputs? I put myself on the line, right? So I take ownership and accountability to all of it. That's probably not the answer you want, but that's the truth. Let's see what else we've got. Does AI strategy change when dealing with a manufacturer, dealing with distributors versus a clean retail play? So, Joey Bennett, again, our framework is universal. The tools are universal. How we deploy them is unique to the industry. So, we think through strategy as a segmentation play for almost any industry. Don't care if it's B2B, B2C, retail, or service, right? So, all of that, we look at what's our segmentation strategy, and we use bots to help us there. How do we execute? Every industry has some sort of policy, some sort of process, and some sort of communication tool that they need for value defense. Same thing across industry. Analytics are unique to the industry. But all you need to do is when you talk to the bots, you give it a assignment. So you are acting as a expert in said industry. doing said exercise, and this is what I need you to do. And it will understand, and it will pull from all of the experiences and all of the expertise of all of us that have been doing this for 30 years, right? So it's no longer Adrienne relying on Adrienne. It's relying on all of the other 74 people who are going to be speaking this week. So super cool that to have access to it. You have access to it now. Let's see. My industry does not have any third-party competitive intelligence, so we scrape. Yep. So yes. So Johanna asked about web scraping. So my company, apologize for that. My company's been web scraping before web scraping was a thing. So we've been doing it since probably 2014, maybe 2013. And obviously it's evolved a lot, right? So we use AI tools all the time to do web scraping. The sophistication of different websites to understand you have AI doing it is also evolving. So it's a constant battle between AI and the tools to block AI. So the answer is there's a ton of tools out there. Some of those tools take a fair amount of investment because the tools have figured out how to get around it. And I think the other sponsor might be talking about that this week. So probably a better resource than us. Let's see. The expo, I think, is at 2:30 today. Chris?
Your time would make sense.
Sorry, 2:30
Yes.
Eastern. Yes. The world rotates around Adrienne today, but I apologize for that.
Hey,
Yes.
no, hey, that's how it works.
Um,
All right, one more question, and we've got Madhavan next. All you just have to stay here. Everything will run on this session, which will probably make me breaking out the recordings later a lot of fun. But that way you don't have to jump from one to the other, which I probably should have done. Maybe we'll do that tomorrow.
Great. Well, thank you, everybody. Have a great week. Say thank you to Chris for doing this for you. Just amazing. And I can tell you from behind the scenes, because I've been chatting with him the last 6 weeks, you have no idea how much work he's personally put into this as his team. So he definitely needs a thank you. And I'll be available this afternoon. I'll be on a couple other panels, but I'm incredibly accessible. So just go to the website, www.pricespace.com, reach out to me. We can chat anytime. All right. Take care.
Thank you, Adrienne. I appreciate it. We'll talk to you later in the week. And yeah, go check out the booth. You give access to the booth, I think, all the time. So go check it out. And yeah, if you can stay on, maybe jump into the Q&A and answer some of those questions. All right. Thanks, Adrienne.